Wanted to talk about my helping my son. And if you have kids that are in the later years of high school, like I do, helping them with planning what they might possibly want to do for a career, which may or may not involve heading to college. And so while I'm working on my resistance training here, thought we could discuss that. And very interested in what have you done in giving advice to your son or daughter in that next step in life. I mean, a lot of people talk about career as, you want to do something that you love, and if you do that, you'll never work a day in your life. I think that's all fine and dandy. In my previous video or videos, I've had times where I'm really convinced that today, 2025 and forward, that you need a skill set. You need something specific that somebody's going to pay you for. And if you want to be paid well, then it better be a very good skill, let's say. So it could be a plumber, it could be an electrician, it could be a air conditioning person. I'm just naming some skills. It could be construction or trades. And those things are fine. You don't necessarily need college for those. But if it is something that you're wanting to be an engineer or doctor, architect, whatever the variety is out there, you're going to need a college degree, and that's going to come with money and spending money. And but you want to pick up that skill. I'm just thoroughly convinced of that. So the topic again today that I wanted to get into while I'm doing my, I'm going to start out doing some curls here, is trying to figure out what's the best way to give advice to my son. I'm not certain exactly. Believe it or not, I've actually looked on YouTube and found some things to be kind of helpful on YouTube here. And my apologies if I start kind of grunting, but here we go. My goal again is to do 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps. So on each side, that is. I've looked at some different websites. There's some YouTube channels. There's some good information out there about, let's say, like medical career. So I've been looking at details on the job. I'm looking at education, kind of grades you need, admission tests that's needed, and also just a day in the life of that, because that can be helpful. Of course, if somebody's going to make a video, usually it's going to be, more on the positive side of things, and how great and glorious every day is. I know my son talks about that he wants to make Lambo money, is what we call it. That's enough money that you can buy a Lamborghini. And I am definitely not in the Lambo category. I do pretty good, but and I got friends that do a lot better than I do, and they're not in the Lambo category. So, and to me, there's a limited amount of jobs that are Lambo money kind of jobs. And the ones that I know of off the top of my head are going to require lots of schooling, and it's typically going to be something, let's say, medical. And so that means to me, you're going to need to be a top student. My son has told me that he was interested in something sports related. And so a couple things that I've looked at, high end would be like orthopedic surgeon. And you're looking at 12, 13 years-ish or more of everything between your undergrad studies, the medical school, the residency, basically where you're out shadowing and you're being a part of that process, working with an actual licensed physician for supervision and guidance. And thank God these, especially here in the US, that jobs have stuff like that. And then I think there's kind of like, you can kind of specialize. There's fellowships and things like that where you spend some time let's say, working with somebody with a specific specialty. And of course, those jobs are like, gosh, one thing I was looking at, I'm going to go one more here, was saying like at least like even like $500,000 a year in income, which is like, it's pretty darn good. A lot more than I make. So, all right, I'm going to switch up the exercises here. All right. The other day I was doing what I call skull crushers. I was working on that, but I'm going to do a dumbbell kickback. And so I'll try to show you here. I'm bent down a little bit, not bending over, hurting my back, keeping this straight. And extending this out. Same thing, 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps. Okay, I did that with some 20s. Felt pretty good. So I'm gonna do some presses here. I'm just using my ottoman here to do this, and it gets the job done. Not perfectly, but does the job here. Oh, all righty. Going back to the medical stuff that my son was looking at, is there are, in a lot of these master's programs or doctoral programs, you have an admission test that you have to take. So medical is the MCAT. My other son that's doing dental is the DAT, dental admission test. And so you have to prep and study for those kind of things. And then even to be a doctor, there's the actual, like here in the United States, there's the licensing exam just to be a licensed doctor. And so I think there's 2 different steps just with that. And those are things to prep for, study for, and of course, to get into different kinds of specialties. Let's say like an orthopedic surgeon, you have to do pretty well on those different exams for that to happen. And that'll help dictate which, let's say, like residencies or fellowships that you get into. So, again, staying with the same here, 3 sets, reps of 6 to 10. And I get that I'm not getting like a full extension like I would if I was doing this on a bench or something like that. And at 51 years old, I'm not looking for perfection. I'm looking for the exercise, and I'm okay with that. So I bring it down parallel, back up, kind of meet up in the middle here, and make sure that I'm doing a weight that I can manage. And actually, this is just the highest dumbbells that I own are 30s, so it's gonna have to work. Never doing a weight that's gonna make it dangerous, especially if I'm doing this by myself here. So, my son looked at, like, I'm trying to get him to look at orthopedic surgeon, sports medicine doctor, a totally different direction, a little bit of architect. I'm going to dig into all the variety of different engineer positions. And I know he can go do all this research, all the studies. I'm trying to compile things partly for my own knowledge so I can have an educated conversation with my son. And I mean, when I went to school, all of this stuff was over 30 years ago. So different time, different requirements. So I want to be able to speak in an educated fashion for him. I also hope to maybe I come across something that opens his mind to it. So that's another goal that I have with this. The other day in the other video, I did a standing shoulder press. I'm just doing a seated one here, keeping my back straight. Do not want to hurt my back. Again, I'm somebody that has had spine surgery, and so nice and parallel. Bring it up, click, click. I'm only doing weight, especially something going over my head that I can manage, that I can handle. And this is 3 sets, 6 to 10 reps. All right. Boom. Okay, that felt good. So my goal to talk with you about this is, again, I'm not sure what the right thing is to do to try to tell my son what's the direction for him to go. And I definitely, as I've said in other videos, I want to do more than what my parents did for me. I think it was mostly like get a job, hopefully that makes good money, and then that's it. And I do have a accounting degree, but the things that I wish that I would have done is I really wish I would have specialized, and I guess let's say had the credentials to go with it. So my encouragement for both of my boys is to specialize, and I do have concerns a little bit about, like, recommending that they get into some kind of job. I'm personally concerned about the programming kind of work. How much is AI going to chew up some of those jobs? There's still got to be people to program the AI and make those types of things, artificial intelligence. But so I just don't know if that's the right direction or not. And I think when I think about my son that I'm talking about here, the 16-year-old, he's a pretty sociable guy. Both my guys are, but so I just don't see him being in a job where he's just sitting there behind a computer all the time and not interacting with people live, let's say. So I think he'd do well with doing that. So it's a challenging time, and thanks for being here while I'm working on my resistance training. The big goal that I have with this resistance training is increasing my metabolic rate to help burn fat. And then the other one is trying to lower that HDL cholesterol. So if I can get cholesterol and stuff to go push in, I think it's to the liver and get processed out or there and lower that resistance training, according to my nutritionist, is going to help me with that. So thanks for hanging with me as I'm working out and figuring out these things, as I'm about to be an empty nester and more than halfway there with my boys and heading into this next phase for me where I'm at now, getting ready for the retirement years. So thanks for being here with me, and hope you're doing well, hope you're healthy, and have a good one.
Oh boy, I am like hurting. I always want to sleep more when it's rainy outside, but starting my push-ups and those dumbbell exercises this week, the resistance training. So this would be the 4th day. I am hurting. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to move. Oh man. All right, I can do it. Go team.